The show really was very personal to Mr. Belisario, and it was his personal choice of how to wrap it up, end it up, and we didn't really participate in that. We just went along with what Don was after. We were not even sure what it was. We had God in there, and the bartender was representing God, and so on. So you'll have to talk to Don.
But it was, it's so emotional. We worked so hard on that show, and everybody works hard on their TV shows, in our television especially. But making basically these little period movies every 8 to 10 days, and running like mad for 22 episodes, it was really amazing work, and everybody had to, invest in it, and that meant everybody on the crew. So we were all very close. This guy and I were very close, and it was very emotional when you end the show. And we weren't sure we were ending, so we weren't. It wasn't like everybody was going around saying goodbye, but we kind of all had an idea that we might be ending. And I still say it's one of the greatest writing tricks to write a final episode that you don't know is the final episode, that leaves the show open to come back the next season, leaves it open for the possibility of a movie, leaves it open for the possibility of, remember in the day, movies of the week, when there were those, and leaves it open to be the final episode. And like it or not, that episode kind of achieved that in this bizarre way, and it was emotional and meaningful, and ultimately, when you look back on it, it's more sad because it was the last one. Taking on some of the more characteristics and personality traits of the bodies, the folks that he was switching around with. So I was heading toward, schizophrenia, basically. And I thought that would be an interesting place for the show to go. So that there would be come a time when they would have to literally, potentially lose Sam, because he would keep disappearing more and more into each character. So that was my own little story, and but it was working for me. So when we were doing Oswald and some things like that, if you look back at the last year especially, you'll see that I was taking on more and more of those kinds of things. So that's where I was going, but I don't know where Don would have kept it going. The show was, the beauty of the show was, it had endless possibilities. They wanted to do an animated episode. They wanted to do me in a crib. They had all these great ideas of doing more and more stuff. And obviously, the more as technology got better, I laughed so much how much things have changed. But we literally would, the first AD would yell freeze, and everybody would. And then he would walk in, take a puff, and then the guy would say, unfreeze, and then we'd go back to the scene. Now, nobody has to do that anymore, but when I think about it, it was so lame. So if you go back and look at the first year, you'll see background in the background kind of going... it was, and you'd have a street full of people, and they'd say, freeze! And everybody would... And thank goodness things have changed and technology is better.